It's the year 1998, and I am fresh out of my mama's womb. You know, I can't really remember the scenes of my arrival into this little hospital in Hong Kong. Well, I don't know if it's little or not because, again, my eyes were too shut. I was in darkness for 9 months prior and inside this cage, and it was tight, and man, and now I'm out here and it's cold and it's just, what is going on? What is all this air hitting me? And I'm sensitive and oh man, oh, what is going on? What is this? Why is there so much light hitting my eyes even though my eyes are closed? What is going on? All right, but that's me as a kid coming out in the delivery room. My dad is over there praying and he's telling my mom, like, yo, in dad's voice obviously, but he's there and he's just thinking, he's saying, yo, I wish nobody gets to be a girl. Like, he is just afraid, like, I wish, like, I thank God that he did not make me a girl. This is my dad telling my mom after seeing the horror, the pain of childbirth and delivery. And so my dad is scared shitless and he knows not what to do. And that is how my mom tells me the story. And so so that's that. All right. But what this kid has to go through throughout life since birth and to the moment of right here right now talking into this microphone and telling this story as I remember it through my lens with as much description and detail as I can possibly remember and fathom. It's been a very long journey. It's been, I don't want to say long, but long, yes. There have been moments where, I'm grinding, I am confused, I am crying, I don't know what is going on. Everything feels out of my control, and I just am doing and doing and doing. I'm trying and trying and trying, and like I'm really pushing and trying to make things work, but they just are not working. Or maybe it's just that my expectations, like my skill set, is not good enough to get to a point where I am getting the results I want. And that is what I really thought for a very long time. And you know what? It's just not true. The truth is that I let my fears, my worries get the better of me. I let my dad's negative self-beliefs and my dad's negative voice of, you can't do this, you're wasting your time, you're ruining your life, this is not possible, listening to other peoples in society that are saying the same thing, like, for example, I wanted to become a trader, and at the age of 18, I, literally drop out of university and I say I'm going to become a trader. That's what I want to be. Then I start learning, I'm on YouTube, I'm in different communities, I pay for different mentorships, I'm, making a little bit of money from working jobs, any job I can find, and then I'm just pooling all of that money, whatever I'm saving, I'm putting it into courses, I'm putting all my time into learning the charts and technical analysis. And then, but society's telling me I'm wasting my time. Society's telling me this is no use. Like, what makes you think you can become a successful trader? Like, that is a big player game. And for me, my whole thing the whole time is that, dude, like, I don't want to end up regretting my life at the end of my life. And I want to make sure that I do everything that makes me feel like I have lived a very fulfilling life, I lived a very good life. And so that's where my journey begins of self-improvement, about what this journey entails. Let's go back to 1998. I'm this kid who's born hospital, right? We went through that. And at young, my parents are, you know, very young. They are 19 and 20, somewhere around there. I don't know the exact ages, but that is the story. And my dad being an immigrant dad from the village where there's no electricity for days, there is no Wi-Fi. Like till this day in 2025, as I record this, there is still no Wi-Fi in that village. And so you can just imagine, it's muddy, it's dusty, it's houses made of cow dung and mud. And just imagine a world 50 years behind from current existence. And that's how it is. Very slow life. There's nothing really happening. It's a village. Everybody in the village knows each other because it's just a small village. And most of the ladies are always home because that's just how village life is. The ladies stay home, they do the housework, they're the house caregivers and whatnot. And the men are going out and they're working. And so this is the location that I find myself, me maybe being 1 year old at this point. I find myself in this village. And that is, I don't know the exact reasons, but that is because my mom and dad need time to settle down. My dad really wanted to have a kid early because he wanted to make sure that by the time he's in his 40s, his kids are also in their 20s and they're like his same age or like more, they can take care of him, basically. That was his game plan. The kids were his insurance policy, life insurance. Like, hey, I'm going to grow these kids, and then by the time I'm in my 40s, they're going to take care of me. And it is just how it goes. And so that was his game plan. But financially, I was not affordable, so to speak. And the reason for that is because, like, just poor family. My dad came from India, from this village that I described, where people are going to the farms and they're just farming and cutting. Every day is farm, feed the animals, milk the cow, drink that milk. Everything is so self-sufficient, so to speak. Like, feed the cow, keep the cow well, keep your chickens well, if you have any in that household. Go and take care of the fertility and the plants and the farm that we have. So that's the kind of life, and that is where I find myself at, like 1 year old. And so my life begins. My parents are in Hong Kong, they're working their jobs, they're making money and surviving and, going through their own struggles. And I am in this village, living in the village house that we own, that is under my dad's, lineage, like his whole thing, passed down household stuff, right? And so that's where I am now at probably 1 year old. And my mother, to me, is in fact my grandmother, my dad's mom. She is my grandmother. But at that time, because she is my caregiver, my protector and all, so she is my mother. And that is the mother I knew until the ages of 5 or 6, when suddenly I was brought back to Hong Kong and my world completely shifted upside down. I did not know what to do. And lots of shadow work and therapy tells me now that that was a very traumatic moment in my life. And it shook me to my core. It caused me depression and deep anxiety and fear and not trusting myself and feeling low self-worth and not good enough, and just so many bad ways where I just want to die, or I'm just thinking about what if it's better for me to not be alive. Like, I'm such a burden on everybody. Like, I am causing them so much pain. I am the reason for their struggle and their misery. And it's just, oh man, I wish this on no child, I really do wish, like, every child can be loved and brought up with respect and understanding and love and compassion. And so that's the journey this child goes on. And in the village, while this child is back in the village, let's go back in the village. I keep going forwards in the storyline, but let's go back in the village. And so I'm in this village, and in the village, I am just calling my uncle, who is my dad's younger brother, my father. Like, he's my father, and my grandmother is my mother. And so that's my story. That's all I know. I remember as a child, like, I would cry going to school. I would get slapped by my aunt, and she would teach me homework and all that stuff. And I was never really interested in school stuff. I was always afraid of the teachers, always afraid of authority, and shy in front of people. Like, I don't know how they are going to respond to me. I'm looking at people and I'm feeling I'm like nervous. I'm shaking. My head is down. I'm looking down. I am worried inside. I'm feeling lots of just fear of, like, what's gonna happen, who's gonna protect me, like feeling not safe, I suppose, would be the feeling that I was feeling. And I'm at school, in India at that age. I start my kindergarten and I'm in school, and I look around, and it's just my life at that moment, my normal life. Going to school, my school bus is a carriage, basically. It's like a horse. We had the driver is basically a horse rider. It's his horse, and he's controlling the horse, basically, and we are sitting at the back on like a carriage. Like, now as I tell this story, it just feels like, holy wow, there was such a time. Like, I've actually been in that kind of a situation where my school bus is a carriage. Like, it's got wood. I remember, like, we would sit on that carriage where you're going to school or coming back home, and then he just had like nailed these wooden boards on inside the carriage. So imagine like two wheels, a horse is pulling on this carriage thing, and you got kids sitting in the back, and they're sitting or standing inside the carriage, and we're just going through fields and fields and fields of farmland and to different people's houses and dropping kids off. And I remember, like, the carriage would tuduk, tuduk, tuduk. The horse is like tuduk, 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 tuduk. Like, he's walking, the horse is walking, and the carriage in the back is also, moving forward with him. But the carriage is bouncing, into the tuk, 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 tuk. So, like, it's uncomfortable. You can't really sit because you're bouncing on the carriage and up and down, up and down, up and down. And then the wood would break. Like, that was the most fucked up shit, because the wood would break because like, you're just sitting there, and I think it just doesn't have enough pressure. Now that I speak about it, I think what the bus driver, the owner of the whole situation, did was he just nailed wood boards to the sides so students can sit on it, or his clients basically could sit on it, which was us. We were the clients. And I think we just we weighed too much. Like, we were too many kids sitting on one wooden board, and probably the nails couldn't support it, and so it would break and we would just fall. I remember just falling inside the carriage and feeling angry and like, what the fuck is this? And like, and yeah, I hated school. I hated school. I remember this one time, like, I was left out. Like, the bus driver just left, the horse carriage just left, and I could just see them, and I was so scared, and I'm just there crying and like sobbing that, oh my god, my bus left me, and like, oh my god, I'm left alone here. So I'm like really scared and worried, like, I'm left alone. And what happened then was one of my teachers came and like took me with him on his motorbike. So on that day I did get a motorbike ride back home, which was cool. So these are just a little bit, my stories, kind of my life over there as a kid, 1 to 5, 1 to 6 ages old. And suddenly one day I'm shown photos that of two people, one woman, one man, and I am told that this is your mom and this is your dad. And I'm sure it's not suddenly, like there have been in between, I'm being told like this is your mom and this is your dad. But to me, I'm just seeing photos. They're just showing me photographs. Literally like old days, like you photographs. There's no phones. Phones don't really exist. And so it's just photographs, and I'm seeing photographs, and my grandmother's telling me like this is your mom and this is your dad. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, yeah, they probably showed me a few times, but I didn't really make sense of it because I couldn't relate. To me, my grandma is my mom because she's physically there for me. She's in front of me. I can see her. My uncle's my dad. I can see him. Is physically there, Oh, fun fact, I even lived with my great-grandfather. Like, that's crazy, right? Like, my great-grandfather used to be alive, and just because I was sent to the village at that young age, my great-grandfather was there, alive and kicking. And so he loved me as a child, I remember, and I'm told. But anyways, as a kid, I could not make sense of those stories. And so now it's 6, it's nighttime, and there's a car that comes out of the house. I'm sleeping, and suddenly I'm woken up, and I'm told, you gotta go. And I'm like, what the hell? It is dark, pitch dark outside. There's no lights because this is a village and there are no lights. The only light is from the stars above, and you can see each and every star in the sky because there are just so many of these stars. And so I'm woken up, and I am taken by this woman, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? What the hell? And and I'm put into a car, and I'm driven off, and I'm sitting in the back, and I'm looking at my grandmother with my hand on the window, looking out, crying, don't take me, please, don't take me, please, let me stay, please. And I am being ripped away from my house, from everything I know up to this point, from everything I have identified with and existed with, and I'm being taken away by this devil, this woman, these people. Who are they? And that's just the story. Next thing you know, I'm in Hong Kong, and I'm in Hong Kong, and I am now in a completely different environment. This is my mom and this is my dad, and you have to call them mom and dad, and you have to love them, and this is your younger brother, by the way. You have a younger brother, and this is him, and this is your room, and this is Hong Kong, so you gotta speak Chinese. You can't be a village boy. You can't have bad manners. You need to know the rules of society and be part of this. And I'm in Hong Kong, dude. I'm in Hong Kong, and I'm fucking upside down on the inside because what the fuck? What the actual fuck just happened to me? And where's my mom and dad? Who's my grandma and my uncle? Where are they? They abandoned me. What the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck? So, I tell this story because, man, that child could give up. That child is me now, and it's been a rough. Like, I've seen shit, gone through shit, but it's all built me into who I am now, the character I am now. But man, I tell that story because that child could have given up. That child could have still been a victim, living his life like a victim. But here I am talking to you, and I am not a victim. I used to be, and that experience that I just described to you is probably where it all began. And I have stories for days because I've lived for 26 years and I can tell you different stories in these 26 years. And so if you enjoyed this story, you enjoyed it. Yeah, you enjoyed it. Then if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. All right, I'll see you on the next one. But yeah, so if you are a victim, if going back to the title, you'll never want to be a victim again after hearing my story. That's my story, and that's the story of the child me, not my story right now, but the child me. And so all I want to say is, dude, if you feel like a victim right now, that's okay. I get it. I totally get it. But it doesn't have to be that way. And it shouldn't, because life is short, man. Life is precious. Death is certain. Life isn't. Death is guaranteed the moment we were born. The moment you're born, the clock starts, time is ticking, and death is coming. Even though we celebrate our birthdays. But but that's the idea. Just if you're feeling like a victim, I get it. I really do. On to the next video. See ya.